Hey guys, I'm Brad McKoy, and thank you for checking out Leaders Exchange. Today, I want to talk about the power of spiritual family, and specifically what it looks like for spiritual moms and dads to invest their lives into the next generation. Immediately when I think about this topic, I remember a conversation I had with my good friend and brother, Donald Clay, about a year ago, where we were talking about this topic. And we were basically talking about, in the midst of a generation that has been fatherless in many ways, instead of the church kind of complaining about it or complaining in the fruit that happens, with millennials, like there's no value in that. Like, I don't know what's going on. It just seems really easy for the church and for leaders to bash millennials. But when we do that, all we're doing is highlighting places where we have not raised up a next generation. And so I want you to watch this conversation with Bishop Clay and myself and just see what you can learn about the power of spiritual family. So I know as we've been growing in our friendship, we have talked a lot about how there's a real need for fathers and mothers to know how to step forth. And I think that understanding the concept of family, the concept of spiritual parenting is maybe different than knowing how to step in and engage with spiritual kids. I can kind of feel like intimidating if you know what's going on. So can you talk for a little bit about what God's done in your life and in your journey and seeing this call and the importance of really focusing on fathering, and being a parent?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when you really look at God's model or structure for the church, it really is a family structure. And I think a lot of times we try to make it a corporate structure, but it's a family structure. And, just like with any family, when the parents are absent, it leaves the children to just try and, they try to find their way. And it's a terrible way to live, and it's a terrible way to try and navigate life. So for me personally, embracing the call to be a father has been paramount in terms of fulfilling that responsibility as a pastor. That, Christianity is all about incarnational ministry. And what that means in its purest sense is that Jesus stepped into a place that we had no capacity to provide for ourselves. We have a generation that in many ways has been orphaned. And we need incarnational ministry. We need moms and dads that are committed to stepping into that place and saying, okay, you may not be my biological child, but you're my spiritual son, you're my spiritual daughter. And because of that, I'm willing to commit my life and to pour into you and provide for you everything that I would provide for you if you were my natural child. And so we're seeing God bring mothers and fathers in, but I just want to make an appeal that, we need people from my generation that, really care about this younger generation. We need you to step up to the plate and really embrace that aspect of your calling and your purpose in the earth. There's a son or a daughter that's waiting for you to show up.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Sometimes I'll talk with pastors and I'll tell them in the church that where we're at, like one of the greatest prayer requests we have is God send us older people, send us spiritual moms and dads. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Every church I know is praying for younger people.
Younger people, that's right.
I would just say to you, if you find yourself like in a place where you feel like, man, I'm getting older, or your congregation's getting older, like there's such a need in this hour for sons and daughters to know who they are and be willing to invest in those who are coming up in the next generation. I think that one of the most important practical things that I see in Scripture is Paul understood there was something that he had invested in Timothy.
That's right.
So he said, the things that I've committed to you, you invest those into to other people who will teach others also. Find some faithful people you can invest into. And that's really what spiritual fathering and mothering is. The concept even of the discipleship is really based on a family model.
That's right.
It works much better if we're in a family versus just one person doing it.
That's right.
So this is what we're believing for the church, is this is really an hour where it's easy maybe to feel disconnected from another generation. I know that I hear sometimes people who don't have a lot of good things to say about millennials, and that hurts my heart because like what they're longing for is not to be orphaned. So when we speak badly about that, we're just like,
that's what I'm going to say. If I talk badly about millennials, I'm talking bad about
That's
myself
right.
because they came from me. So,
So I think sometimes what happens
yeah.
is we see a potential there
Yeah.
that we get intimidated by.
Yeah.
So I just want to bless you.
Yeah.
Someone today said that, hey, like our generation didn't necessarily have spiritual fathers and mothers, but we find ourselves becoming that.
Yes.
It's so important. This doesn't become your identity. You still are a son
That's
or a
right.
daughter of
That's
God.
right.
But this is just like in the natural life. You were born a son. You were born a daughter. But as you grow, it's natural for what's inside of you to be reproduced into
That's
someone
right.
else. We really want to encourage spiritual sons and daughters to be connected
Yes.
to those who will say, we believe in
Yes.
you, we're commissioning
Yes.
you, we're
Yes.
with you. And that requires some people who have some experience.
That's right.
And some people who have walked the walk before to
That's
say,
right.
hey, we're going to be with you.
That's right.
So we're just saying, like as you've heard, like the invitation, exhortation from Bishop, from myself, we're just saying, hey, don't be intimidated by what
Yeah.
you don't know. It doesn't take a degree to know how to do this. It just takes being confident that you have a relationship with God, and that in that relationship with God that you have something to invest.
Yeah.
And then find someone that you can say, hey, I want to share with you for your good and for the good of others,
Yeah.
right? Not to build our own
That's
thing,
right.
but we want to share with you what we've learned so you can pass it on to other people.
That's
And that's why we're all here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So blessings, and we encourage you, especially just want to speak to spiritual moms and dads who maybe feel like, I just don't know how to do this. You know what? Find someone to love.
Yeah.
Find someone to give the overflow of your life to,
Yeah.
and God's going to make it beautiful.
Yeah.
Blessings.
You know, watching that video makes me think about conversations that I hear all around me about the generation gap. And I was talking with a friend earlier today, and it's like we really just don't believe there is a generation gap, just broken family. You know, God didn't design us to live with people that are only just like us. In the beauty of family, He designed the generations to be together and to share experience with each other. And in fact, when you think about some of the very basic instructions that Paul gives, like he gives an instruction to older women, how to teach the younger women, how to love their families and take care of them. We hear Paul telling to Timothy, who is his son in the faith, how to find some faithful men who would be willing to share their lives with others as well. So there's this idea in scriptures from Genesis to Revelation about a multi-generational God. He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's the God of family. And I really want to encourage you that God has a plan for you, and God has a plan for His people to reflect His nature and to reflect the family of God on the earth. Listen, we live in a culture where brokenness in the place of family is running rampant. But what an opportunity for the church to love Jesus and then to be recognized as His followers by the way that we love each other. And so I think that the best place for love to be put on display is in the commitment and the covenant of family. So I'm not asking you to create some new Christian club or anything, but what I am saying to you is if you are a spiritual mom or dad, and by that I mean if you've been walking with Jesus for a little bit, I bet there's someone who is looking for someone to invest in them. I bet there's someone who would love to have someone with your experience to step into their lives and be willing to make a regular investment in them of time and sharing with them what you've learned in your journey with God. Hey, I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it has, check out some of our other resources. Hey, leave any comments and questions below, and we'll try to get back to you. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.